Thanks so much for staying with us. There's concern among law-abiding residents of Marvelly in St Andrew over the actions of what are said to be warring factions in the community. However, Assistant Commissioner of Police Kevin Blake says he's encouraged by the interaction at a community meeting on Friday, which sought to examine the way forward. Brian Walker has that report.
According to Assistant Commissioner of Police Kevin Blake, Marvelly St Andrew has been rocked by 14 murders since the start of the year. Police have been interacting with residents in a series of community meetings to gauge their concerns.
Youngsters within the community, fighting over turf. They're not sure, as we are as the police, why is it so? Because not much turf is here to fight over, and also the issue of migrant criminals being encouraged in the community by others from within the community and stuff like that. But from our assessment, it's a small minority of persons inside here.
Councillor for the Hughenden Division Andrew Harris hopes these meetings will help to add new life to the community.
Children are out going to school. There is no parties, there are no parties keeping, there are no dance, no round robin, no bingo, no business activities. Everything is at a crawling pace. So we're just asking them to just cease, let us try and do it like the way we're trying to do now, by dialogue, and see if we can resolve our conflicts.
ACP Blake said he was encouraged by Friday's meeting as the police push to sustain meaningful engagement.
We are happy with the turnout of the persons come. Very rich and spirited discussion, very encouraging, and we took the opportunity to remind citizens that the community and the security of the community belongs to them, and what we require is partnership with them in order to ensure that the security is maintained.
I'm Brian Walker for CVM Live.
A curfew which was imposed in sections of the Denham Town community since 7 p.m. yesterday will remain in effect until 6 a.m. on Monday. The boundaries of the curfew include north, starting at the intersection of Little King Street and Racecourse Lane, east starting at the intersection of William Street and Upper Rose Lane, and continuing south along Rose Lane to the intersection of Beeston Street and Rose Lane, south starting at the intersection of Beeston Street and Rose Lane, continuing west along Beeston Street to the intersection of Spanish Town Road, and west starting at the intersection of Beeston Street and Spanish Town Road, continuing northwest along Spanish Town Road to the intersection of North Street and Spanish Town Road. In this CVM Live update, it is expected that Desmond Ballantyne, popularly known as Ninja Man, and his co-accused, his son Janelle and Dennis Clayton, will know their fate on Monday. They are charged with the murder of Ricardo Johnson, also known as Trooper, which was committed in 2009. Justice Martin Gale spent Friday summing up the trial for jurors. The trial, which began on October 18, is closed to the public. The dancehall DJ appeared to be in good spirits on Friday as he was escorted to and from the courtroom. There's grief in a section of St. James after a senior citizen died in a motor vehicle crash this morning. The sorrow is a heavy load as police begin collecting evidence to determine if negligence was really a factor on the part of a number of drivers involved in a string of collisions.
I was coming from the trail area, heading to Montego Bay, and the green Nissan was in front of me.
Cleon Brown is one of 5 drivers involved in the multiple motor vehicle collisions Saturday morning along the Unity Main Road in St. James. He says he saw everything but could do nothing.
And the Kiyuki coaster, that's on the road, across the road, sitting across the road. Swung from behind a car and hit this car head on, this green car head on, and spun him round into the bus. And swerving from the bus, I ended up in the ditch.
The female driver of the green car, 72-year-old Monica Edwards, was approximately 10 minutes into her routine journey to the market. Unfortunately, she did not survive the double impact to the front and the side of her Nissan. Relatives and well-wishers at the scene began reminiscing about the wife of the retired reverend for the St. John's Methodist Church. They hold dear images of the couple who 7 days ago celebrated 51 years of wedded bliss at the altar and a dinner. Also on Sunday, her lifelong partner delivered his sermon on preparedness. Today, he says, he was speaking to himself. While there were no other reports of other serious injuries, persons traveling in Mr. Brown's bus went to the hospital to make sure. Regarding the Burgundy car one coaster swung from while traveling away from Montego Bay, CVM Live understands it was operating as a taxi on the Montego Bay to Hopewell in Hanover route.
The taxi.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had about. And the taxi man was coming around and stopped in the road because a passenger.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the car behind him, the red car driver,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's what he said because he actually said everything. Because him touched the bumper of the car because of the way him stopped. Yeah, him actually touched and have to try to go around to save him back from even get more mash up from the bus because we're coming, you know.
Right.
Yeah. So the bus actually still touch him while him release to go around, you know.
If speed was an issue, persons who knew Mrs. Edwards say she would be exempt. Also on the scene was former mayor of Montego Bay, Glenn Harris. He says he's a neighbor to the original owners of the Bogue Wholesale. He refers to them as Mr. and Mrs. Eddie. He's also a part of the church class Mrs. Eddie leads. He remembers dearly running into the pair dining out 2 days ago at a restaurant.
Mrs. Eddie was such a docile person, you know. Does our business and, you know, doesn't get involved in all kind of things. A strict disciplinarian that you would consider as one of the type of person that Jamaica needs, you know, particularly in a time like this.
It's a reminder, he concludes, for road users to have a conscience for others.
The Hart College of Hospitality Services and Western Hospitality Institute opened its agro-tourism trade show on Thursday, aimed at highlighting the potential of easily accessible raw products to Jamaica's development. More in this report from Nicole Wilson.
To highlight the potential of agritourism as a major strategic thrust in the expansion of the local tourism product, the Hart College of Hospitality Services and Western Hospitality Institute held their agritourism trade show on Thursday. Speaking at the opening of the trade show, the Minister of State in the Ministry of Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries said economic growth is dependent on the growth of the agriculture sector, and he highlighted the important link between the agriculture and tourism sectors.
Where that linkage is to grow the economy is the linkage with the tourism sector. There is a wide market there. And so I just want to say to you, we have to look at how we can get agriculture on a more sustainable path.
Education Minister Will Reid, who also spoke at the event, said the trade show is an excellent platform to demonstrate skills and also to network with other stakeholders in the agritourism sector. He shared his vision for individuals who work within both sectors.
What we want is to go and reach for the skies. We want highly trained, certified Jamaicans working in agriculture, working in tourism. Because when you're highly trained and skilled, you are creative, you are problem solvers, you're highly productive, and that's what we want in our country, to have high levels of productivity.
He also emphasized the ministry's commitment to the development of a competent workforce. Nicole Wilson, CVM Live.
And in another update, the National Identification System Bill was passed by the Senate on Monday. And this afternoon, members of the Love March movement staged a protest outside Emancipation Park. Brian Walker spoke to concerned citizens.
Protesters converged outside Emancipation Park a little after noon to voice opposition to the passage of the National Identification System Bill. President of the Love March movement, Dr. Daniel Thomas, said the protest forms part of the group's colorblind campaign, which has a keen interest in good governance.
We are concerned that it is still compulsory and there will be a fine of $100,000 for people who disagree with the bill, who refuse to give the information that the government demands. We find this to be quite an autocratic move by our government, right? No, we are not against the national ID system being in existence, but the fact that it is compulsory, the fact that persons will be criminalized for not being a part of it, those are very, very big problems. And then now they are moving to tie goods and services to it, especially government services.
Another concerned citizen, Carol Bridge, added that for her, the passage of the bill was too swift.
As I understand it, the idea has been around for a long time, but an idea is not the same as a bill. My understanding is that the bill was tabled in March, and all of a sudden it seems like there's this big rush to put it through. So actually it's a very short time for a bill of this magnitude to go through.
So, what's next after the protest?
We are the ones that are going to work together in the country to pay off these bills. We have to be consulted. So we're asking the government to crush the rush. That's the name of this protest. That's the main message. Crush the rush, because when bills get rushed, rights get crushed. The people have to be consulted. Whether it is via town hall meetings or whether it is via joint select committee, persons need to be able to present to the government the issues that they have, and the government can't just rush along and just move about as if it doesn't care about their people. This is not the Kim dynasty.
On Tuesday, Director of Communications and Public Affairs in the Office of the Prime Minister, Robert Nestor Morgan, explained that rolling out a national public education campaign before the passage of the bill would have been problematic.
It was a bit difficult to launch a national public education campaign when you do not have a law that you can predicate that public education on. There are additional things that are supposed to come. There are going to be a series of community meetings all over the country. The first one begins next Thursday at Emancipation Park, where the NIDS team and others who have knowledge about NIDS will be at Emancipation Park answering questions as we're doing this morning.
I'm Brian Walker for CVM Live.
You're watching CVM Live. We go to a break ahead of news from overseas.